Welcome to Therapy by Choice podcast. My name is Robyne Vance. I am your host for this podcast and an associate marriage and family therapist working with individuals, couples, and families. My therapeutic services are offered through Therapy by Choice, which is a private practice with offices located in San Jose and Palo Alto, California. On this podcast, we offer educational information on a variety of mental health topics. We speak to specialists in the field, and we answer your questions. We focus on helping you navigate life's challenges and offer easy-to-follow practical advice and opinions. Welcome to Therapy by Choice podcast. I'm your host, Robyne Vance. As a therapist, I spend a good amount of time in session walking people through the messy parts of life. And let's face it, we're living in some messy times right now. Today's episode is part 1 of a 2-part series on facing uncertain times. Now, if you've been feeling a bit off lately, maybe you're anxious, overwhelmed, even numb, I want you to know that you're not alone and you're not broken. You're responding to a world that feels a little upside down. So during this first half, we're going to explore what I mean by uncertain times, why they hit us so hard on a psychological and neurological level, and how they show up in our everyday lives. And then in part 2, I'll dive into some science-backed strategies, tools, and therapeutic approaches you can start using to regain your footing. And as always, you know I'm going to make this topic easy to understand and apply to your daily life. So let's get into it. What do I mean by uncertain times? Uncertainty, in a psychological sense, is simply not knowing what's going to happen next and feeling like you can't prepare for it. Now, this may sound like a broad issue because it is. Uncertainty can be global, like a pandemic. It can also be deeply personal, like not knowing where your next paycheck is coming from. So let's break down some types of uncertainty and look at them. Global and societal uncertainties. Pandemics, like the COVID-19 pandemic. If you remember, it flipped the script on everything: our health, work, how we connected, and even how we grieved. Climate change is another one. Now, even though this is not in the news daily, a lot of people carry a fear, whether it be quiet or loud, about the future of our planet. Political unrest, protests, and civil conflicts. These events can make the world feel unstable. Economic shifts, recessions, inflation, job layoffs, they hit close to home and stir up questions like, am I going to be okay? Is my family going to be okay? And even rapid tech advancements such as AI and automation, changes in how we work, can make us feel like we're constantly having to adapt or get left behind. Then, of course, uncertainty has the personal side. Job insecurity or losing a job, an illness in a family, a health scare of your own, big transitions, relationship endings, financial instability, even just living paycheck to paycheck can create a chronic hum of stress. And a concept I now want to introduce here, ambiguous loss. That's when you're grieving something unclear, like not knowing when normal will return or whether it ever will. Now, essentially, anything that strips away predictability qualifies as an uncertain time. It leaves us looking for control and trying to make meaning out of things we don't fully understand. Now, next up, let's take a look at what uncertainty does to the brain and the body. I want to talk about why these times feel so intense, and not just emotionally, but physiologically. Long-term uncertainty doesn't just make us feel scattered or overwhelmed. it actually changes how our brains and body function. Let's take a look at what the research shows. We experience a cognitive deficit, a temporary drop in IQ by about 13 points. That means our brains are literally not thinking as clearly as they should. Our neural circuitry, which is just a fancy term for the connection network of neurons, starts to overgeneralize threats, making it harder to tell the difference between real danger and perceived danger. And then those lovely neurotransmitters, things like serotonin and dopamine, the chemicals that are responsible for regulating our mood, become dysregulated. And then our brain's communication systems get really loud and noisy, meaning emotional and rational parts of the brain stop coordinating as well. Cortisol, which I'm probably sure you've all heard of, our main stress hormone, goes up chronically, which impacts memory, sleep, decision-making, and emotional regulation. Now, what does this mean for you, especially if you've never had a mental health diagnosis before? Even for people who've never had a mental health diagnosis before, this type of chronic stress can bring symptoms like anxiety, trouble concentrating, panic attacks, depression, burnout, and emotional numbness. What the nervous system experiences repeatedly gets written into our circuitry. The good news, though, is what gets wired can be rewired. So let's take a look next at why this is a mental health issue and not just a bad mood. Now, this isn't about just being stressed. Chronic uncertainty rewires our nervous system, our behavior, and even a sense of who we are. So the next time someone tells you you're just being dramatic, you can know this is real and it matters. And it's why therapy is often not about fixing someone. It's about helping them rewire and heal after long periods of activation, exhaustion, and disconnection. Now remember, we'll talk more about tools for that in part 2. But for now, just know your reaction to uncertain times is a survival response. You're not weak, and you're responding exactly how a nervous system is designed to. All right, well, I know that was a lot of information, and that's part 1 of this 2-part series where we're addressing uncertain times. Join me in part 2, where I'll give you some practical tools you can use based on science and therapy that help you regulate your nervous system, build resilience, and move through uncertainty with more ease. And I want to thank you for tuning into this episode of Therapy by Choice podcast. Remember to like and share this podcast, and don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions or if there's a specific topic you want us to cover. You can text me at 408-786-9651 or shoot me an email at robyn@therapybychoice.com. That's Robyne, ROBYNE, @therapybychoice.com. Also, check out our website at www.therapybychoice.com and follow us on social media. My name is Robyne Vance. Take good care. While we hope to provide insight and education, our podcast does not replace therapy, and listening to our podcast does not establish a therapeutic relationship. If you or someone you know are in crisis, please call the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline by dialing 988.